Hi everybody, it's Kira again. As promised, I'm posting tonight about how to put together a death file, a death binder, something we all have to face, so that the process when you've passed on will be easier for the ones you've left behind. They won't have a nightmare of deciding what you wanted and how to get into your bank accounts and get everything taken care of and everything canceled. It's a great gift that we can give the ones we leave behind. So as suggested in the post that I put on my Facebook page before, I bought a great book by B.J. Miller and Shoshana Berger, and it's called A Beginner's Guide to the End. And it is, I've been reading through this so that I can put this video together for you, letting you know. This is a hardback. I don't know if it's available on Kindle. It's a long book. It covers what you should do to get things ready in a binder or a box or a folder or what have you for your loved ones. But it also deals with if heaven forbid, you come down with a fatal disease, a terminal illness. It has a lot of information in there about that type of thing too, how to cope, how to help your family members cope, things you can do. So nobody likes thinking about this, but we have to. We're getting older and we do need to think about things like this because eventually we will experience the alternative to getting older. We all will. There's no way around it. So following her directions about what you should put in a binder or not, I first want to tell you that there's a wonderful website called Nolo, NOLO.com, Nolo. And this website will give you a lot of information if you're not sure about things like, I know some of you have messaged me about, should I get a living trust? Should I get a will? What should I get? What about an advance directive? They're all different things. And that depends on what it is you want to accomplish and how you want to take care of things. Now, I am no expert. I'm just putting together my own file for my children, my adult children, for when the time comes. I'm no expert, but I just want to share with you some things I've found out about what you should do. And on this nolo.com, there is a wonderful document called Living Trusts and Wills Compared. And it has a nice 2-column checklist like this where you can see what a living trust will do, what it won't do, what a will do and won't do. Nice, easy format to read. And then, of course, it goes on and it has explanations of all those check marks. But just for example, a living trust, some of the things that will do for you that a will not do is help your loved ones avoid probate, so they get much more out of what you leave for them. It helps maintain your privacy after death because it doesn't have to go into a court with everyone hearing all your details. It does require a notary public. A will does not, but a living trust requires a notary public. If you set it up that way, you do have to transfer your property. You get protection from court challenges. Now, some things a living trust will not do. You cannot name guardians for your children in a living trust. Should you have children who still need guardians, you would not be able to do that. You would not be able to name an executor because there's an executor for a will, but not for a living trust. It will not instruct your loved ones on how taxes and debts should be paid. And it does not require witnesses. Yeah, it doesn't require witnesses. Neither of those documents has any effect on your estate taxes, money to leave to pets, final wishes for your final disposition, passwords for online accounts. None of that's in there. So one of the very first things you want to do, I would say check out nolo.com, and definitely, if you can afford to or want to, have access to speaking to a lawyer, a financial advisor, someone like that who can talk to you more about these types of things. I know a lot of them offer free consultations. And also for senior citizens, many communities have these types of services available. They have classes and workshops on how to do things like this for senior citizens, and they're often free. So you might want to check into that in your city or your state and see if any of that is available. It's a great way to help you decide what you need to do and where you can locate the resources to help you get those things done. In reading through the book, I found one of the most important things and the easiest and fastest things you can and should do to prepare for that final moment is to prepare an advance directive. Now, an advance directive says who's going to make your medical decisions for you. And that takes effect before you die, because if you have reached a point where you can no longer speak for yourself, where you can no longer make medical decisions, you're in a coma, you're in a vegetative state, you just can't do it anymore. You need to have someone named to do that for you, or else the hospitals will decide for you, and that you may not get what you really wished for. For example, my family has known for years that I want to be cremated. They know that I do not want to be on life support past a few days. If something's past a few days, and if the doctor says, there's really almost no chance, and if she does survive, she might be in a vegetative state, I don't want that. So you also need to speak to your loved ones and let them know about things like that. But your advance directive will name one person and an alternative who can take care of those things for you, and that's all about your medical decisions. And you can put in things like in there like a DNR, do not resuscitate if that's what you wish, no artificial feeding if that's what you wish. And you will keep a copy of this in your binder that you make, your death binder or your file or your box when I'm gone, what to do and how to do it. But that's something that I just had mine prepared, and I'm mailing a copy to the person I named and to the alternate person so that they can sign them. They're going to meet up because they both live out in another state. And so they're going to meet up and sign in front of each other and then exchange copies. And that's all they need to do. They all have signed copies, and they are the two witnesses needed. But that's a very important thing. And you can do that very cheaply. I did mine online in a matter of minutes for $45. So you can find things like that out on that nolo.com. Nolo, of course, standing for nolo contendere, legal term. So I started my binder, and it is something you should do. I know several of you have asked me, well, how do I do it? What do I put in it? And you can do a binder, you can do a box. I made a table of contents for mine, telling them what's in here. And then it starts with the advance directive, so they'll know right there, even though the people who are named in my advance directive will have copies already. But this way, if anybody else has any doubts, a copy will be in here. And then you have your information on lawyers or financial consultants, accountants, anybody you have there, their contact information. A copy of your birth certificate, just a copy. You don't need to put the original in there. You should keep that someplace else while you're still alive so that in case you need it, you can get to it easily. You'll need a copy of your will if you have one, last will and testament, and or your living trust. You can have both. You can have a will and a living trust. Again, speak to a professional about which is better for your situation. I'm going to do a living trust. I don't want my stuff to go through court and my children to have to go through months of waiting and lose half the money. I don't want that. Durable power of attorney for finances. So your advance directive is naming who will take care of your medical decisions and honor your medical wishes. And your durable power of attorney for finances is who will take care of the financial matters, who will get into your bank accounts, who will pay off creditors, who will close out accounts, who will distribute money from life insurance policies, anything you've left in your will, things like that. Very important. Life insurance policy information, so they can someone will need to get in touch with them, let them know that you have passed away, and for them to initiate the life insurance policy. And it will be very important for whoever takes care of all this when you're gone to order copies, many copies of your death certificate, because they will need them for the bank. They'll need them for your life insurance policies. They'll need them to close accounts. Many, many copies of your death certificate should be ordered. If you were in the military, I was not, but you'll need your military service records, important things called a DD-214. You'll need proof that the person was in the military in case there are any benefits there. I remember my father had one in his death file that he made for my mother, but she passed away before he did, so we took charge of that. Your bank account information, if you have a safe deposit box, that information, so you have access to get in there. And you'll need to arrange, there's other things you need to do. You need to arrange, you should change someone needs to be on your bank account, needs to be a joint account. I think it has to say, and again, check with a professional, but they won't be able to get into your bank account if they're not on the account. So that's something you want to take care of. And you could, if you do a living trust, everything will be to them in a transfer anyway. So their names will already be on there. Information on who you owe money to, your debts, and how to pay them off. Copy of your driver's license, social security, passport, all those vital records. It's come in handy. Divorce and marriage certificates. Sometimes you have to prove that. An ex-husband or whoever might come along and say, hey, I get something. Well, hey, I divorced you. Sorry, I don't think so. Not unless you're named. If you have a safe, the location and the combinations. Tax information, state and federal. And now I have not finished putting this together, but you see in the table of contents and in the checklist that was posted on the Facebook my Facebook page, the post about putting this together, you'll need things like a section of your passwords and other things. I do suggest you check back on the Facebook post to see what else they suggest you put into your death file or your death binder or your death box. Passwords, letters to your loved ones to be distributed, last words that you really, really want them to know, memories to keep with them. And you also need to put in information about your final disposition, your burial, your funeral, your cremation. If you have a prepaid cremation or a funeral, that's important to know. And then lastly, you want helpful home details, things like where your extra keys are located, where your garage door opener is, just little details like that. If you have a hideaway key somewhere, you'll want someone to know about that. Just things like that. If you lifted up a floorboard and you're hiding things under there, you might want someone to know about that. So I do suggest a book like this, A Beginner's Guide to the End. I got this one on Amazon. It's very, very helpful. I do suggest you consult with a professional to see what's best for you. And if you want to get a head start on that, I do suggest you go to Nolo, NOLO.com to get some information. Have yourself prepared for the types of questions you want to ask. Start putting together your binder or your box so your loved ones will have that when the time comes. Check out your community to see if any of the... Sometimes it's places like the YMCA or a community center or a community college, a senior retirement community where a lot of these workshops are offered. I've even seen some make and takes where you actually put together a death file or a binder while you're there. You don't bring all your documents. They just help you create the pages like you just saw that I did. I did my own, but I do know these things are available. And I can't stress enough how important that the letters to your loved ones are, especially if there's someone you haven't spoken to for a long time, you've been out of touch with, if you have an estranged relative, as I do. I have an estranged daughter. We've been estranged for over 6 years now, sad to say. In case we do not get to speak again, there are many things I would like her to know. So things like that are very important. Have that in there. What else? It's important. We don't want to think about this, but we should do it. Make an appointment. Go to a workshop, a free workshop. about all of this, talk to a lawyer, talk to an accountant, go to the county office and get records that you're missing, birth certificates, marriage, divorce certificates. Get copies of everything. If you can't find your Social Security card, make sure you order a copy of that. Have copies of everything. Make this as easy as you can for your loved ones when you go. Again, I know this is something we do not like to think about. I know in this case, we'd all prefer to just keep getting older and not the alternative, even though, you know, my motto is getting better is always better than the alternative. Bye.